Hey folks, it's Grant Estrada over at Local Cooling Farms. I'm in the Egg Room studio, and today we're going to talk about goal setting. Now, why is goal setting important? Simply put, if you don't know where you're going, you have no idea how you're going to get there. So you're just walking around aimlessly, not knowing what you're going to do or where you're going or anything like that. So unless you want to walk around aimlessly, you need to write down your goals. And if you have a goal in mind and you have that vision that you want to achieve something, then you need to start developing a pathway in order to get there. So you need to create some sort of like framework in order to do that. Today we're going to talk about the basic framework. It's like goal setting 101, right? Now, remember, a lot of people don't put down their goals on paper because they don't know how to do it. They don't have any help doing it. They just don't know where to start. So this is like where are you going to start type of conversation. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to break the goals down into three different areas. We're going to break them down by subject. We're going to break them down by role, and we're going to break them down by time frame. So let's just kind of get started with this. So goals by subject. On average, you can come up with anywhere from 6 to 10 to 12, 15 goals by subject things. It depends on how, particular you want to be with your subject. But some areas, for example, are going to be, your financial environment. If you're in the farming business and regenerative ag, you may or may not be. You're concerned about things like the ecosystem and biodiversity on your farm. That might be an environmental goal. Health, family, relationships, your spiritual life, your recreation. If you like to go out, fish, hunt, play golf, or whatever, you need to have goals with even in your recreational activity. And then your relationships among your friends, right? Your friendships, right? And then goals by role. You need to know what hat you're wearing. We're all wearing multiple hats, right? Owner, employee, father, brother, mother, sister, friend, aunt, uncle, mentor, friend, neighbor. We can kind of go on and on by all the different hats that we wear and all the different types of relationships that we have, right? And your time frame. Half a day, daily, weekly, monthly, annual, 5-year, lifetime, right? The lifetime, I really want to stress that, because your lifetime goal is going to be your legacy, right? It's going to be what you ultimately leave behind in this world. What kind of influence you have. Hopefully, it's going to be make the world a little bit of a better place than in the way that you found it. But that's going to be your legacy goal, and then your legacy goal, it can also be worded in, what are people going to say about you after you're gone, right? And, everything really leads to that big legacy goal. I don't want to overwhelm you and say that you have to figure out what your legacy goal is right now, but that is it's one of the ultimate goals, right? And so, for example, financial goal, let's say we want to save up, $20,000 in the account as our backup emergency fund, right? Well, we're at zero, so we got to go from zero to $20,000. So we've identified the goal. Then we're going to identify the role that we're going to do it in, right? So let's say that we're an employee. I misspelled employee, so I'm going to put an E there. Okay, so I should have the goal of spell checking the board before I start the video, right? All right, so what role? Employee. So how am I going to make my financial goal of $20,000 in my backup savings account emergency fund as an employee? And then what's going to be my time frame? So let's say I want to make $20,000 extra net after taxes to put into a cash account for emergencies. I'm going to do that as an employee by doing a better job at work. I'm going to show my fellow employees and my bosses that I'm looking at for the company. I'm doing a fantastic job. I'm going above board and making sure that the quality of the product is going to be better, because I want to prep to ask for a raise, right? That's going to be one way for me to be able to put that extra money in the account. So And then I want to, based upon the income that I make on that, let's say that it's going to take me, a year and a half to achieve that goal. So you start writing things down. Okay, so got my financial goal, $20,000, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to become a better employee at work to where I become indispensable. So then when I go and ask my superiors for a raise, they're going to be like, no problem. That's going to speed up how much more money I make as an employee. And so therefore I can be more efficient with saving. And then it's going to take me 1.5 years to be able to achieve, socking away the $20,000. I'm just making up the numbers as I go. Don't read into it, but you understand, the flow a little bit of what we're after, right? There's all kinds of different ways. You can say, I want to save some money, but I've got an uncle who needs some extra hands right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start moonlighting, working on the weekends for my uncle because I know he needs work at his construction company. By doing that, by working on the side with my uncle, I'll be able to sock away $20,000 in more like 4 years, right? So whatever the numbers and relationships end up being, you can kind of like see the flow. You got to identify the goal, the type of goal. You've got to identify what role, what hat you're going to wear. That's going to allow you to have the opportunity to get the things that you need to put the goal together. And then you have to be able to identify the timeline to do that. Now, the timeline is very important because a lot of people get frustrated because they may not see the tangible things that they've been able to complete early on in their goal setting. So let's use the lose like 20 pounds example, right? They may be hitting it hard for a couple of weeks at the gym, but they're not really seeing that weight fall off. Well, they're not going to see it that quick. They really need to wait a month or two. So when they say, I want to go to the gym to lose weight, you say, I want to go to the gym to lose weight, and then my goal is to lose a couple of pounds in 3 months, right? You want to give yourself a realistic timeline with some buffer space in there, because the worst thing you can do is set a timeline that is insane that nobody can do it, and then you reach that time period and you're like, you see, I wasn't able to achieve the goal, and then you just backpedal or you just completely stop doing what you're doing. We talked about that in the comfort zone video. You're in your comfort zone, you're trying to make it through the panic zone, and you don't give yourself enough time to get through the panic zone into the growth zone, and so you end up backpedaling back in the comfort zone, right? Speaking of the whole gym lose weight scenario, that could be a health goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to get with a friend of mine because I need an accountability partner who's going to go to the gym with me. I'm going to go to that friend and be like, look, we're going to set a 4-month goal. You let me know how much weight you want to lose. I'm going to let you know how much weight I want to lose. And we're going to hold each other accountable to go to that, to be able to achieve that. And then we're going to do that in the 3 or 4 months. So health goal, I want to lose 20 pounds. As a friend, I'm going to set up a reciprocal relationship, an accountability partner agreement to be able to hit the gym to where we can both hit our goals of weight loss, within whatever the 3 or 4 months, whatever it is that we're going to set. So that's really it. It can be this simple. And, there's a great saying out there is that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And this is a great starting place for you to start achieving your goals. Now, there's a couple points I need to make on this. Is that first off, you have to write these goals down. You have to write them down because you're going to have to review them, right? The day starts the night before you go to bed, because the night before you can review your goals. Early in the morning of, you can review your goals. It's not a hard and fast rule, highly contextual. It needs to fit within your schedule and what type of person you are. You may not want to think about anything at night at all. You want to go to bed, you want to focus on your family, whatever it is that you do, but you may get up early in the morning, you may get up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning, so you have that solo alone time to review your goals. You need to write them down so you can review them. It's so important. I can't overemphasize that you have to write your goals down. You have to be able to reflect on your goals and write them down. That's step number 1, right? Step number 2, if you need help with this stuff, you need to find people that are going to have these conversations with you. Almost everybody will give you their advice. So I would say, hey, Bob, I really need your advice on something. This is kind of like what I'm thinking. Show him your written goal. Maybe he can give you some feedback on it and help you, with it. There's all kinds of people out there you can ask questions about. The other thing is that the time frame is just so important. We'll talk about it later, but it kind of goes into the concepts of incrementalism, right? You truly do eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so you need to set these practical goals for yourself in order to be successful, because if you have crazy timeline and you're just going to quit, I started my business 20 years ago, and I had these goals, these timelines that I wanted to hit with the business. Of course, sometimes you hit them, sometimes you go super backwards. But in reading all this kind of stuff, I read over and over and over again, to build a successful business usually takes about 10 years. And I think that's absolutely true. So, if you're listening to this video and you're starting a farm business or whatever, it takes about 10 years, to have a business going. It really does. With our farm business, to date, we're about 7 years old. We feel like we're not going to be achieving our financial goals and our livestock husbandry goals. It's going to take about another 2-3 years. So we're right at that about 10-year mark. I'm okay with that. I've been through the cycle enough to where that's what I've learned to expect, but it really does take a long time, and you need to be kind of, honest and kind to yourself to set, these time frames. So again, these are 3 great ways, or 3 things that you need to do to have a great way to kind of get started into goal setting. So set your goal by subject. You can make it up. Remember, they're your goals. You can do whatever you want. Set it by the role, and then set it by time frame. And you can get a really good picture about, what you want to do. And I recommend setting them for a lot of these different areas. Now, we're not always going to be able to focus on these areas at one time. Don't think that you have to, right? We really, sometimes we're going to go, really heavy into our spiritual life. And then, we're going to get really busy because, recession's hitting. And so we have to be prepared for that. So we really start focusing on our financial planning and how much money we're going to spend, and our budgets and our forecasts. And we may let some other things go. And that's the thing. We're constantly going to let things off to the side while we're focusing on something else, and then we're going to go back to it, and there's going to be kind of like that flow, right? Just like I talked about in a video with your comfort zone, there's going to be an expand and a contract and an ebb and flow, and that's fine. And that's another reason why you need to write the goals down, so you can kind of keep track of everything. So I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'll try to make a video out of it. If it's a really good question, please subscribe to the channel to let me know if I'm doing a good job, and I'll keep putting more and more effort into the quality of the video and the quality of our Agrum studio. Well, I guess that's it. Everybody have a good one.